Opened up yesterday. How long will it impact drivers?
Plus, with weather in Paris constantly changing, Olympians are adapting their strategies to win. We'll break down what that looks like.
And we connect the dots behind an Olympic tradition that's more than 100 years old.
Thank you for joining us here at 10 a.m. Good morning. I'm Nick Sturdivant.
And I'm Jane Monreal. We are following today's top stories. First, let's check the forecast. We're reminding you to stay weather aware starting today because we have hot temperatures and storm chances that could impact your afternoon plans.
Before we get to meteorologist Chris Mulcahy, let's take a look outside. This is Lake Norman. A beautiful start to the day so far. But Chris, as Jane mentioned, it is about to be hot, hot, hot.
A great song as well, and good to see you two. Yeah, it's going to be a hot, hot, hot day and hotter than the last couple. But one big difference we're seeing here is how it looks. The last couple of mornings, it's been kind of foggy, cloudy, where it looked like it was going to rain. Today, I think we take a break from the rain for most of the area. There will be still some storms, just depends where you are. Temperatures up to 79 degrees already, recording this at 10:01, and then 76 degrees in Hickory, 77 Statesville, 69, feeling great around Boone. But it's a humid day. You're really feeling that air you can wear more so than the last couple of days, and that's going to bring our heat index to around 100 degrees. So I think we do have a little bit of a downgrade as far as how hot we're going to feel today. I know that we're weather aware today through Saturday, but I really think it's going to be Thursday and Friday they're going to be feeling the hottest. Our hourly forecast still keeping an eye out for a chance for storms. I don't think it really happens until after the sun sets. Maybe an isolated storm a little bit earlier on. Here's what it looks like on our futurecast. A blank map for most of the afternoon. Chance for maybe an isolated guy at one point between about 4 to 8 o'clock. But all in all, this is a much blanker map than what we've seen over the last few days. But things are about to change for us. So tonight, temperatures dropping down to 72. Tomorrow, more isolated scattered thunderstorms possible with temperatures in the mid to the upper 90s. Coming up, I'll tell you how hot these days are going to feel and your next best storm chance.
All right, thank you, Chris. This morning, we're learning 2 men are now in jail in connection to an Anson County homicide. Police say it happened at the Mineral Springs Mobile Home Park in Morven on July 12th. The suspects, Jeffrey Wolby and Michael Christian, are now charged with felony murder. They're expected in court on August 12th.
The CMPD officer who shot and killed a man in North Charlotte last year will not face charges. Senrico McGill died last December. Documents from the SBI show police encountered him after his mother called 911, saying she thought her son was shooting a gun in the area of Catherine Simmons Avenue. She also told dispatchers McGill was struggling with mental health issues. Officers gave McGill verbal commands to lower his weapon before they shot him twice. Investigators later learned the gun was not loaded. However, the officer's reaction was ruled as justified.
Well, getting around parts of uptown Charlotte may be a little tricky this morning after a large sinkhole opened up near Bank of America Stadium. This map shows where that hole formed, right at the intersection of West Moorhead Street and South Cedar Street.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards shares when drivers can expect the intersection to get back to normal.
A sinkhole on South Cedar Street in Uptown is closing part of the road and affecting people driving through Uptown this morning. The sinkhole formed Tuesday afternoon, and Charlotte Water says a water main break was to blame. It cut off water service for people on Cedar Street, but it was restored at 9 o'clock Tuesday night. The city says drivers should avoid the area as it could take several days before the road reopens.
Well, check your fridge one more time. Boar's Head is recalling 7 million more pounds of meat. It's from the same listeria outbreak as last week's 200,000 pound recall. Now, according to the USDA, the recall now covers every item produced at the Boar's Head's Virginia facility. That's 71 different products. If you bought one of those items, you can return it at the store for a full refund.
This morning, Governor Roy Cooper is sharing more details on his decision to pull his name off the list for vice president.
Yeah, during a visit to Eastern North Carolina, the governor said it wasn't the right time for him or the state.
Early in the process, I informed the campaign that I did not want to be a candidate for this. My name had already been prominently put into the media, and so I did not want to cause any problems for her or to slow her great momentum. It was amazing.
And Cooper believes Harris could announce her running mate by the end of this week.
Well, Vice President Kamala Harris will make another trip to the Tar Heel state next week, this time as the Democratic presidential frontrunner. Our content partner, WRAL, confirms she's expected to hold an event in Raleigh with her running mate. So it does sound like we can expect Harris to announce her choice in the coming days.
Less than 24 hours ago, Hamas confirmed its political leader, Ismail Haniyeh, was killed overnight during an Israeli raid at his home in Iran. His death comes just a day after Israel killed Hezbollah's most senior military commander. Experts say the deaths could be a sign of escalating tensions in the region that may snowball into an all-out conflict.
This year, Olympic tennis matches will be played on clay courts. It's the first time clay courts have been used at the Games since 1992 in Barcelona.
Meteorologist KJ Jacobs explains how this can both help and hurt Olympians on the court.
While playing tennis on clay courts is a challenge in of itself, some might not realize weather conditions can impact your chances on clay. Summer temperatures in Paris range between 67 and 104 degrees, forcing players to switch up their strategy as the weather changes. Charlotte City Tennis Director Aaron Molinet says, with Paris 2024 being played on red clay, the pace of play is typically slower than the traditional hard courts.
So the hotter it is on a clay court, the clay will actually dry up, meaning it's a much faster surface of clay. So it's still slower than hard court, but it plays a little more like a hard court when it's super hot.
Molinet says bad bounces are common on clay courts because when the ball hits the clay, it loses its initial speed and it can then bounce high up.
My average ball is 80, 85 miles an hour, and on a clay court, it bounces, slows that pace down. So somebody that may not be able to get to it on a hard court would be able to get to it on a clay court.
The top three primary weather elements that impact tennis players are wind, temperature, and humidity. Wind, because wind speed and direction can be unpredictable. Athletes must focus on their serves and adjust their hitting power. Wind can throw off the ball toss while serving. Hitting into the wind requires a harder hit, less power needed with the wind at your back. Shot selection is important, such as more topspin. Temperature. A tennis player will feel the heat, and the temperatures will impact the ball's reaction too. Heat radiates off the court and it feels hotter for players. A hot tennis ball is more elastic and it bounces higher. Heat causes the ball to skid and reduces reaction time. Humidity. If it's humid during the match, the ball's weight may change and it can tire out even the most elite athletes. High humidity keeps the players sweaty, adding more weight and stress on the players. And lastly, weather can impact the rackets too. When it's colder, players want less tension in their strings to generate more power in their strokes. But when it's warmer, tighter strings can give them more control. I'm meteorologist KJ Jacobs, WCNC Charlotte.
Look at KJ with the skill.
He looked at it. He hit the ball without even looking at it.
I wonder how many takes it took.
Yeah, they talk about serving it differently. Yeah. I would have the same serve. Wet clay, dry, hard court, whatever, grass.
Look, I tried to show off my swing in the newsroom, and yeah, it didn't go well.
It did. Stick to your day job.
Yes. Well, it's a day to stay weather aware right here in the Carolinas. For the next few days, it's going to feel like it's in the 100s, Chris. Oh my goodness.
Oh boy.
No, I want to talk about this swing now. I feel like there's more to unpack about this story.
It's old news.
Okay, well, I'll tell you about new news that's happening in the forecast. Wednesday through Saturday. Wednesday is today, of course, but it's really now until 8 p.m. that you're going to have some of the highest heat indices of the day, so stay cool, stay hydrated. But I'm going to downgrade today. I don't think that it's going to be nearly as humid or at least as high of a heat index as what we're going to see over the next 4 days. So here's what's going to happen. We have those dew points still around 70. That's still awful. That's that air you can wear. But that's only going to create a heat index around 100. That's still hot. But we go weather aware for whenever it's 103 plus, because at that point, heat exhaustion is likely, not just a possibility. By tomorrow and Friday, it's 1, more humid, and 2, it's going to be a hotter day. So I think you're going to have a real feel above 105, even as much as 110, or at least close to. So we're just shy of that excessive heat warning. Likely a heat advisory is going to be on tap for at least Friday, Thursday, could also be included as well. Today, high temperatures right around 93, 94 degrees. Beautiful sunny skies. Today is going to be a sunnier day than what we otherwise had yesterday. And then we're going to hit our peak on Friday, getting up to about 97 before we start to come back down into the lower 90s. And then we have a chilly 90 degrees by the 8th and 9th of the new month. Today's the last day of July. It's hard to believe. Here is a look at our live Doppler radar. You can see some rain further off towards the west. This is kind of the pattern that we're in. This often happens during the middle of summer, that you have a bunch of activity to the northwest, and then eventually whatever's left over can work its way through the overnight. That is a case and scenario for maybe tomorrow morning, but likely I think it'll be on the far western side of the Carolinas. Right now, a high pressure system trying to keep us sunny for the time being, but if any storm does pop, it will have a chance to be severe. So we have a low risk for severe storms for today, and the main threat, just like yesterday, will be some gusty, damaging winds. We had a bunch of severe thunderstorm warnings. Some of them did take down some trees and even awning of a gas station over in Catawba County. Here's a look at our futurecast for today. You see an isolated storm pop up by the end of the afternoon and early evening, but notice the coverage area, it's not all that vast. So I'm not saying you're not going to see storms. I'm just saying that very few are going to be on the map. But if you do see one, it could be quite strong because it's using up all the energy solely on its own. Go to the night's forecast. Well, that start time is at 7:04. I think we're dry at that point. There could be that one nearby storm that I showed you here on the map, but I think it's by the late innings or even after that we'll see our best chance for showers and storms. Tomorrow, temperatures getting back into the lower to the mid 90s. It's going to be another hot one. And then our futurecast showing tomorrow's activity, I think, is going to be a little bit more vast. Check it out. Today, not a lot happening here on the map. More storms start to move through, I would say, even by the middle of the afternoon. And then we do it all over again on Friday. So our Guy Roofing 7-day forecast, still keeping things stormy pretty much each and every day. I think Saturday is the best chance for storms over the next 4. And then high temperatures reaching 97 on Friday through the end of the weekend, back down to the lower 90s, still lower to the mid 90s through the early to midweek next week.
A chilly 90 degrees. All right. Thank you, Chris. Well, now's a good time to download our free WCNC Charlotte mobile app. It has an hour-by-hour and 10-day forecast that is updated by our weather impact team, so you can stay weather aware as you plan out your week. Scan the QR code right now that's on your screen to download our app.
Day 5 of the Summer Games now underway in Paris. In just a few hours, the U.S. women's soccer team will go head-to-head with Australia. There are some Olympians with Carolina connections you should look out for on the field. UNC graduate Crystal Dunn, former North Carolina Courage player Lynn Williams, Team USA defender Emily Fox, and goalkeeper Casey Murphy, plus Hal Hirschfeld, one of the youngest players on the team. They take the field today at 1 p.m.
Meanwhile, as we speak, North Carolina native Evie Leafarth is competing in the women's canoe slalom semifinals. At just 20 years old, Leafarth is already a 2-time Olympian. And of course, we're cheering her on. WCNC Charlotte sports anchor Nick Carboni had a chance to catch up with her before she headed off to Paris.
I didn't realize how nervous I would be before my first Olympic event, and I mean, it makes sense. Like, it was my childhood dream. It is my childhood dream to be out here racing at the highest level. But when that all kind of came together, I was so in my head. And this time around, I'm excited to just, appreciate the journey more and just go out there and paddle how I'd paddle any other race.
Too cool.
Yeah.
While watching this year's Olympic Games, you may have noticed some athletes wearing pins from other countries before they compete.
Yeah, there are thousands of them out there. Even saw Snoop Dogg. He had his own design. Of course, it's Snoop. Well, but what do they mean? WCNC Charlotte anchor Ben Thompson is here to connect the dots.
Turns out these pins are a tradition that goes back more than 100 years. Let's connect the dots. Every Olympics, countries, individual sports teams, and even brands make pins athletes can trade with each other. Recently, the tradition has expanded, with fans getting in on the action as well. The official Olympic website says pin trading can be traced back to the first modern Olympic Games in Athens back in 1896. Greek athletes were given cloth pins with the country's national anthem, and the tradition evolved from there. While it may have started casually, it's now a big part of the Games. Athletes say it's the perfect icebreaker when they're at the Olympic Village to meet athletes from different sports and other countries. And that is connecting the dots.
All right, check this out. All-star gymnast Simone Biles did not go empty-handed to Paris. She and her team created custom pins with her name to pass out to athletes and fans. Maybe she gave one to Snoop. Many athletes also trying to score a custom pin from Snoop Dogg during the games as well. Which one's more valuable?
Both.
Yeah.
Both. Did you see Simone Biles, his husband, in the stands while
Yes,
she was
taking
competing?
the score.
Taking notes. That is a good man.
And
that is a good man.
I also think that Snoop needs to be the commentator for everything. He's done Shark Week now. He does this. He just makes things better.
Yeah. And more interesting, I saw him swimming with Michael Phelps yesterday.
Really?
Snoop!
I saw him lifting weights. He's doing everything.
He's an all-around. Takes the gold for us. All right. Well, a reminder that while the Olympics will be on WCNC today, we still have your news headlines covered. We'll be streaming live again at 2:30. You can find that on our website, WCNC.com, or inside our WCNC mobile app.